Hello, and welcome to another episode of Self Improvement for Women. I am your host, Hope Long, and today I have a very special guest. Her name is Gresson Peiiffer. She is an author of Sharing My Light and Healing Journey, and she is currently living in Belgium. She has been on a crazy ride, a spiritual journey that you can only imagine, and it's things that you just hear about like on TV, and she's living it. So without further ado, Gresson, I'm so happy that you have joined us today. How are you?
I'm great. Positive vibes all over the place.
That's right. That's right. I love for you to give the audience just a little bit of background, like what you came up from and who you are today.
Well, I currently live in Belgium, and as a mixed race woman, because I have a Filipino mother and a Belgian father, it started to challenge me even when I was like 3 years, 5 years old, in kindergarten already. I think children must have picked up on a different energy that I was giving off of a different energy, and they thought, "What's this?" They don't know how to deal with it. So my mom told me they kind of ignored me and done some things that, yeah, they shouldn't have done. And that I wasn't aware back then that it caused me kind of acceptance issues throughout the whole my life. And if that wasn't enough, I've had an abusive father on all levels. Like, I was kind of scared to get at home when I had bad grades because he would kind of hit me. But I don't want to focus on the physical abuse because you also have emotional and mental, and people underestimate the effect of that.
Yes.
Because I wasn't allowed to move around as a child. I was always asked to be quiet, and that also caused me to not be myself. I always had the feeling around people that I had to hide my true self. Because of the mixed race issue is one thing, a different energy than others, and also about the not moving around, causing me to hide my true identity and suppressing everything. And suppressing is a bad thing. We all know that.
Yes. Yeah. And so, so you had to hide your true identity. You couldn't shine your light. You couldn't be
Nope.
who you are. And so that is that mentally and emotionally is just draining, and it
Yeah.
really chips away at you subconsciously too. And
Yeah.
those are very hard bridges to rebuild in your mind when they're brought from childhood,
Yeah.
right?
Because you need to ask yourself what stories are coming from yourself and what stories are coming from others.
Yes.
And then you have to go through a whole investigation, I would say. I've been through the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So what was the turning point for you?
I think many things. First starters, I've been through several trips to the Philippines, and whenever I got back, I lost a piece of myself because I left one piece there. It didn't come back with me because when I was here, there goes back to the suppressing.
Yeah.
And I realized this when the first time I got back when I was grown up in a long time. I realized that, hey, it took me 1 month to get used to the energy in Belgium again. But I didn't do anything with it. It was just a few trips later that I discovered, hey, you're feeling more like yourself when you're there. What happens? Why don't you bring that energy back to Belgium? What's the connection? What's the missing link? I was
Yeah.
missing something, and then I was like, uh, yeah, I didn't couldn't pinpoint it at all. And then there was this friends whom I couldn't share my trip with. I wanted to tell her all about it, but she pushed me away. And then there was the total opposite, a colleague who mentioned me a few months later that I was like a little kid in a candy store, and I cheered up because someone noticed it. I know nobody has to notice it. Nobody has to say anything, but I appreciated it a lot
Mm-hmm.
because it helped me to reveal the things that I was hiding. She was literally paving the path for me to step into my life purpose.
Yes.
She helped me to find the me who I am today. And for that, I'll always be grateful no matter what happens.
Yes. So you started to finally bring your light back to Belgium.
Yeah,
And then you started on this very deep spiritual journey.
yeah.
So what did your spiritual journey look like?
Well, I always knew that the universe was behind my back. I always knew, but I kind of thought it was a coincidence. But then those coincidences, synchronicities, started to come more and more in my life. Then I was, hey, I need to pay attention to that. I need to pay attention more to my intuition. And then through my intuition, I reconnected with my inner child. You know, the child that's within you. Your adult self knows that you're grown up and knows things, but your child is still stuck in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why um we come, yeah, how you call it, we attract the same people, the same situations all over again because we don't dare to face
Yes.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that you mentioned like synchronicities because
yeah,
a lot on the show we talk about mindset and being
yeah.
open to like divine inspiration and things
Mhm,
like that.
mhm.
Well, when you're seeing like synchronicities in your life and like I see them all the time. Like I just happen to be I'm having a conversation one day and then a
Yeah.
couple days later something similar comes up or I'm like
Yes.
or I have a great idea and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, those are synchronicities." And it's right now I
Yeah.
actually just got a message. My boyfriend says to me, he says, "Oh, this guy from high school, I've seen him 4 times in the last 2 weeks. Haven't seen
Wow.
him in 30 years." I'm like,
Wow.
"That's crazy." I said, "There's a synchronicity. Make sure you
Yeah.
talk to him, see
Yeah.
how he's doing."
Find
And then he
out.
come to
Yeah.
find out he's moving into our town. And it's just crazy, like little things. And it's funny how the universe,
Oh.
yeah, it will place things in front of you. So I just,
Yeah.
it's just an amazing thing. And when
Mhm.
you start listening to your intuition
Mhm.
and, you know, your inner self and your
Mhm.
intuition and your
Mhm.
child that's within,
Yeah.
building this life that you dream of becomes
Yeah.
a lot easier.
Yeah.
It becomes
True.
so natural, right?
True. Yeah. And that's when I kind of started the meditations
Mhm.
to reconnect. And then I felt the energy flowing again. I was like, "Yay! I'm not going against the flow anymore. I'm breaking cycles up here."
Yes. Yeah, meditation is huge. And
Mm-hmm.
so so you use meditation in your
Yeah.
spirituality.
Yeah.
What other techniques do you use?
Like, well, been energy vibes. It's also like a kind of meditation, but those who can't meditate, they just need to listen at work or at home. They just need to listen to it and then pay attention to what kind of patterns or thoughts that come up in your mind, because that's how I did it. It's not enough to listen to those vibes. You need to pay attention to what comes up, and then that's how I that's how the puzzle fits for me through my whole life.
Yeah.
I know now that everything that has meant to happen in my life was for a reason, because now I'm here to inspire others and to help others on their way, you know? And
Yeah.
it's kind of funny because I didn't know that we can heal ourselves. I was like, I did 80% myself. And when I was stuck, when I felt an emotion coming up that I didn't know where it was coming from, I had those spiritual teachers around me Because I remember one time I reached out to someone that I found on YouTube through a video, and I was kind of curious. She did sound healings, and at that time I needed one. And then she said she looked at my blog and she said, "What did she? Why does she need me for? What does she need me for?" I was like, "Wow, yeah, we have all the answers within, but yeah, sometimes you need to. Yeah, everybody has his own timeline,
Mhm.
and sometimes this life force within you comes up, and then you get the picture
Yeah.
suddenly."
Yes. That is so amazing. So, for today, what you
Mhm.
have come up with for
Mhm.
everyone is 5 things that you can expect in
Mhm.
your own personal development journey.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, and definitely spiritually, we
Yeah.
fear what we do not know
Mhm.
or what we do not
Mhm.
understand. We don't
Mhm.
know what to
Mhm.
expect, and it can put off a very
Yeah.
not a negative energy, but an uncertain energy, right?
Yeah.
And what we want is to calm that nerve,
Mhm.
to calm that
Mhm.
energy. So I would love for
Mhm.
you to take it away with the 5 things that you can expect in your personal development journey.
I think one of the things we mentioned already, synchronicities, but those come in the form of numbers. 11. For me, when you start your journey, it's just 1 1, 2 2, 3 3. In the beginning, I didn't know why, but then I looked them up, and then there's supposed to be angel numbers with different meanings. But I will leave it to the audience to look it up, the meanings. And together with that, you also have those animals, spirit animals, like ladybugs. They're supposed to be good luck, abundance. I've seen one today, so yeah, I'm praying.
I love it. I love it. I
also,
know.
also like a grasshopper. I think it's
Yes.
the same meaning. Even the birds on my terrace sometimes. That this, I was like in the living room first working at home. When I started to work at home, I was in the living. Always one bird there sometimes. But then I switched to the living room. They're always finding me to my bedroom, and then they're always finding me. I was like, I can't hide from them, anyways. A squirrel. Squirrels also. Even on social media, you need to pay attention. But the further you go in your journey, you'll find them doubling even more. 11, 11, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Even mirror numbers like 1, 7, 7, 1. I think, yeah, examples like that. And you will also feel kind of depressed. For me, it wasn't, because I had the universe there guiding me. I knew I was going to be okay. As long as I stayed in a high vibration, my life was in flow.
Yeah. I think
But
that depression period is very important to
yeah,
recognize.
yeah,
And it's sometimes like we don't recognize when we're depressed. We
no,
just think it's everyday life. Like,
yeah,
and that's very sad. It's very unfortunate. You
yeah,
should always wake up. Your ideal self wakes up
yeah,
excited to start the day. Like
yeah,
everybody's does. And
yeah,
so when you're in that period, that low, just
yeah,
know that there's
yeah,
about to be a breakthrough,
yeah,
right? That's
yeah,
your
right.
sign.
Right. And then job will fall away, people will fall away that you're familiar with because they no longer resonate. But me, my job is still resonating because I'm paying attention. Sometimes you need to stay put. You stay by, oh, I need more money. I want this, I want that. But sometimes you need to stay put because the universe is still preparing you for the next step. You don't want to go too fast.
Yeah.
So that's when it's important to pay attention to your intuition.
Yeah. Trust your instincts.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're also going to learn a third point is everything that you've ever been taught through your parents, your society. You will find that some of those truths aren't really true. You create your own reality. You'll find out, yeah, your perception is going to expand. You're going to be more compassionate to others. You're going to be more forgiving, solving,
Yeah.
etc.
Something that I'm learning, I'm taking my neurolinguistics programming
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
certification. And something that I'm learning is that our perception of reality is
Yeah.
completely different from the
Yeah.
next person's perception. And our brain can only
Yeah.
process a certain amount of information. We're given
Yes.
2 million bits of information, but we
Yeah.
can only take on a very, very small amount of it, which
Yes.
blows my mind. So and this can be applied to
Yeah.
conversations that you're having. If you think
Yeah.
something that you said may have been
Mm-hmm.
misconstrued, you might
Mm-hmm.
just be making that up in your own head,
Yeah.
because our perceptions are
Yeah.
different.
And they're based upon our past experiences. If
Yes,
we
everything
didn't
is
work
relative.
through it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the fourth one is the physical symptoms like stomach aches, throat throat aches, headaches. They're all stuck emotions. For me, it was, but sometimes it's really physical, no
Mm-hmm.
doubt. But you need to how you call it? You need to learn discernment.
Mm-hmm.
You
Discernment.
need to
Yeah.
learn to feel what it is, because for me, headaches were just emotions coming up
Yeah. I
that
know
have
that
been. Mhm.
I know this person, he worked a really hard job for 20
Yeah,
years. It was really stressful. And
yeah.
suddenly he was having migraines all the time. And this went on for
Wow.
about 2 years. He quit the job and found a different
Yeah.
job. No more migraines. Just amazing. Like
Wow.
debilitating migraines. And it was all due to the stress and
Yeah,
the dread of going into
yeah,
into that work day every single day, knowing, dreading that Monday was coming.
yeah.
And just that it was just a constant
Mhm.
feeling of hate and loathe for this
Yeah,
job.
yeah,
And boom, migraine's gone. Crazy.
yeah. But most of the times, it's just the chakras
Hmm.
activating.
Yeah, there's 7 chakras, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
right. And I figured out the reason why I was a little bit insecure is about the acceptance issue, but my solar plexus, my stomach chakra was closed. And when it started to open, it started to grow. I was like, I didn't even have any training. Wow, I was just we're doing energy work, and that made all of the difference. Even speaking up, I discovered it was blocked, and when I was working with the chakras, it opened, and yeah, I felt more at ease to speak up. I still need to pay attention. It's still a work point, but I'm getting there.
Yeah,
Speaking
it's
my
a
truth.
journey.
Yeah,
Things don't always
yeah,
change overnight. It is a journey.
yeah, yeah. And the fear that we have has to do with the roots. If we're not grounded enough, if we don't feel safe enough, but it all comes back to ourselves. We think it's someone else, but it's not. It's us.
Yeah, we rely a lot on external
Yeah,
forces to tell us how we feel.
yeah,
And that is not the case. You have to tell you how you
yeah.
feel. You have to figure that out. It all starts
You
with
have to take control.
yes.
But not a lot of people know that. They think they're stuck in a pattern, in a circle, but you can't get out of it. But yeah, I know easier said than done, right?
It takes practice, and
Yeah,
it takes an awareness, a level of awareness,
yeah,
a practice,
yeah,
and then a conscious effort.
yeah. That was my fifth point. The energy you will feel the more you're working on yourself, you'll feel the energy free flowing through your body. So don't be surprised when something comes up. You just need to embrace it.
Absolutely. And even embracing, I do want to add this, like
Hmm.
even embracing negative emotions.
Yeah,
Let them come, let them
yeah,
have their moment,
yeah.
and then you release them, right? We don't have to
That's the
stay
only
with
way.
them.
That's the only
Yes.
way to heal.
Yeah, you don't have
Don't
to keep
avoid.
that.
Yeah,
You can let it go.
yeah. You don't be surprised how much baggage that we're still carrying.
I
It's
know I
amazing, isn't
am.
it?
We all are. We all have baggage, and we all have things from our past that randomly
Mm-hmm.
just they're hiding in our subconscious, and they come
Yeah.
out, and then we're like, oh my gosh, I remember that. And then you're like, oh man, and it feels bad for a minute, you know?
Yes. Yes. And one more thing: if something comes up and up and up, it doesn't have to be a setback. it's just another layer that you're gonna let go of. Just
Yes.
allow it. Don't go freeze like
It's like
what's
peeling the
happening.
layers back of an onion, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's fun rediscovering yourself. Just take a look at that from that point of view, and then you're gonna, oh, I didn't know this about myself. I didn't know that about myself.
It's amazing. It's a really amazing journey to
Mm-hmm.
go on.
Yeah.
Gresson, thank you so much for coming on my show today. You are a wealth of knowledge. I'm so excited for you and your journey. You guys, if you haven't yet, check out her book. It is Sharing My Light and Healing Energy. I have all of her info here at the bottom. Gresson, again, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, you guys, we will see you on the next one.